Now we need to talk about the Detroit Lions and the Detroit Lions potentially losing a coach that hasn't even gotten town yet.
It's crazy.
Not even here yet. Scotty Montgomery, Chris, if you have the graphic.
Yeah.
Scotty Montgomery was hired as the new assistant head coach to the Detroit Lions and the running backs coach. But just like every other Valentine's Day in my life, once I get a new girl, she's doing something on the side. And he is flirting with the Buccaneers as he is interviewed for the OC job in Tampa Bay. So I don't know if this is something to be happy about because it means he is a wanted commodity. This is a guy that's obviously getting interviews for offensive coordinator jobs, which is, there's only 32 of those in the world. So it's something good to say about what he brought to the table and how they went out and got him because he is a wanted commodity. But man, this guy hasn't even unpacked his bags yet in Detroit, and he already might be on the road. How do you feel about it?
I mean, it's incredibly ironic because I think when Scotty Montgomery got hired, I think a lot of Lions fans are kind of like, well, who the hell is this guy? And then you start looking to his resume, and now you can kind of see why the Lions hired him in the first place and why all these other NFL teams truly want him, because he was a head coach at Eastern Carolina, and previously he was the wide receiver coach for the Steelers, where he coached Antoine Randall, especially, which is a big one for the Lions, Antonio Brown, Mike Wallace, all those key playmakers they had on the outside. He coached them, and then you go to Eastern Carolina, he has success. Go to North Carolina, he has success. When he's in Indianapolis, he's coaching Jonathan Taylor, and he had last year the best season for a running back.
Yeah.
So I think he's not a big name, but when you start looking at it, you realize why he's a big commodity.
He's got a track record.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a track record of success and things he's done well, and you listed quite a few of them. He is very versatile in what he can do for a coaching staff. Booner, how do you feel about this?
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know that you said he didn't even unpack his bags. I don't even know if he packed his bags to come to Detroit yet. It's crazy. It is interesting, though, because to be honest, I don't think they've interviewed 6, 7, 8 guys, it feels like, already in Tampa. So I don't know if he's going to get that job. But the thing I took out of it is it shows that there's another offensive coordinator talent inside of our staff. When we look ahead, all right, Ben Johnson might only be here for one more year. We have him sitting there ready to go to where we don't even have to go out and get anyone. We already know he's interviewed for this job. He knows, he has what it takes. But it's interesting. He got here, and all of a sudden he's got an interview right away. I think they're just doing their due diligence. Tampa is, and I think it just shows more that Dan Campbell can find those guys. Yeah, and he's found them, and it gets me pumped for the season. It really does.
It does. I like that take as well because I looked at it when, the fear of losing Ben Johnson was there when he was having interviews and doing legitimate things before he eventually withdrew his name from runnings in multiple positions. I obviously was worried because of what he did for the team and what he built in this offense. But I had faith that this coaching staff, that Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes, could go out there and find a guy, find the right guy, find someone who could replace Ben Johnson. And this is somewhat of an adage to that, is that they go out and get guys that other people want. They go out and get guys that other people recognize as football minds, as people they'd like in higher positions. And, yeah, it does suck that I was excited to see what he could do with the running backs after the work he did with Jonathan Taylor and things like that. And I also saw this as somewhat of a guy that could possibly replace Ben Johnson if he decided to go on to a head coaching position next season. But we'll see what goes on. Hopefully Tampa doesn't sign him as their offensive coordinator, and he'll be for the Lions coach for a couple years.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really... Besides the weather, why go to Tampa over Detroit, especially right now, how both teams are shaping up. The NFC North is not getting anything better for the other teams in there. And the NFC South, if you go to Tampa Bay, you're going to be in cap hell for one. You don't have a quarterback, so it's just going to be such more of a project. And like you were saying, Ben Johnson is probably going to be out in the next year or two. So if Ben Johnson leaves, you are the next man up if you do your job properly, which if he stays, I have no doubt about it, just because all the praise he's getting from around the league. So it's exciting because normally I think as Lions fans, we're usually stealing the guys that we're hoping to work, and now we're going out and getting the guys that we know will work. So I think just another aspect of how times are different as Lions fans.
Yeah.
So I'm excited.
It's definitely a good aspect to it, and hopefully we could see some success that'll bring, because it's something that I was excited for, like I said, but we'll see what goes on with the hiring process. JB, how do you feel about this?
you know what? We just can't have nice things. You know? And it really sucks because I'll tell you right now, I don't think anyone was really looking at Scotty Montgomery coming off of this past season.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as the Lions get their hands on him and get a guy that they want, it's like now everyone comes to try and pull the Lions back down. No one wants to see the Detroit Lions actually get better, improve, and be good. That's why you've got people, vultures, that's coming in to steal and pick off as many coaching candidates as they can. This is the 9th interview the Bucs are having for an offensive coordinator. The 9th.
Yeah, that's
the 9th
pretty
candidate
wild.
for someone. Like, come on.
That's pretty wild. We'll see what goes on in Tampa Bay, but sounds like they're flirting around with a lot of different people.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out, like, is Tampa seriously about, like, it's interesting, too, because, like, before he got hired here in Detroit, how many of us, like, and even in the chat, like, how many of we all knew who he was, like, in depth? And now we're looking at it, and he's getting an OC interview right off the bat. It, like I said, I'll just keep saying, it makes me excited because Dan Campbell just keeps finding these guys. And I saw in the chat someone said he found Lynn as well, but, like, he's found more guys than he hasn't. Like, this is exciting that we have another basically OC on our staff to work with Ben Johnson, to work with this young core. And as soon as Ben Johnson's gone, he's that next man up. He's been there for a year. He knows. Like, if I'm him, I would way rather be in Detroit and take that OC job next year than I would Tampa this year.
That's what I'm saying.
I would way rather have that.
You think that's a better situation?
100%. Because right now, Tampa's kind of like, they don't, like Lucas said, they don't really have a quarterback. Trask right now, they might get like Anthony Richardson. Like, they're up in the air on who they can get. There's no guarantee.
Derek Carr.
He's going to the Saints.
They do have a solid. They have a solid roster. Like, they have a Super Bowl roster from a couple years ago. A lot of those guys are still there. But when you're looking at, like, the trajectory of each franchise, I'm licking my lips to come to Detroit if I'm him. If I have to wait a year to get that OC job, I personally would do that.
Yeah, especially like in Tampa Bay, like I said, they're in cap hell, and the roster is nice now, but in 3-4 years, Chris Godwin out of prime, Mike Evans out of prime, all the front seven, Levante Davis going to be retired. Truly, the things that they're holding on to are going to be like Rashad White, Devin White, Antoine Winfield, who they're going to have to let go. So I think in 3-4 years, Tampa's going to be right back where they were in the Josh Freeman days, the Glory days, the Doug Martin days. In Detroit, we're going to have a new team.
Josh Freeman,
bro. So washed.
I agree, so washed. Just terrible. But I agree. I do think Detroit is more attractive of a position, but if you get the opportunity to be offensive coordinator over running backs coach, you got to take it.
But, okay, so the situation like when Ben Johnson was going to go get a head coaching job and he decided to come back, I kind of look at it to where he can go get a head coaching job and it might not be a good situation and it doesn't set him up to win and, to build his head coaching career up. Same thing I feel like with the OC position. Like, he can take this opportunity. It's cool and all. He's going to have that opportunity again. Like, that's inevitable. Make sure, he needs to make sure he takes the right one. I think the Lions would be the right one to, for his future. Like, he wants to have success so he can become a head coach. If he goes to Tampa and it's just a struggling franchise, Tom Brady's gone, you know what I mean? You want to set your future up.
That's Kyle Trask. Maybe he's the golden boy.
Absolutely.
You got no faith in Kyle Trask?
Oh, my God. Especially, what did they do offensively this year to make you be like, oh, wait till Trask gets in this offense and Brady's out. No.
Who do you have more faith in, Kyle Trask or Jordan Love?
Oh.
I'm going trash just for the plain fact.
I'm going Jordan Love.
You going Jordan Love?
Yeah, I'm kind of scared of Jordan Love.
You're scared of Jordan Love?
What?
I'm not even scared of
Jordan Love.
You have to hear me out. These Packers quarterbacks, it's just like you think, there's nothing to it. And then the first year they start, second year they start, they just comes out of nowhere and just punches you right in the,
I think when you have a quarterback like Brett Favre, Hall of Famer.
Yes.
And then they struck gold twice with Aaron Rodgers. And now they're mining with Copper.
Until
they got nothing.
They got Christian Watson. I'm going to be scared of that next guy.
You think they would have signed Aaron Rodgers to that fat of a contract, knowing he was a total shit show if they had faith in Jordan Love?
Do you think they would be going through the situation with Rodgers now if they didn't
Aaron
have faith?
Nobody knows what situation Rodgers is going through now. He's in a fucking dark cave for 4 days by himself. Yeah.
And the other thing that told me everything I needed to know was
God.
Alan Lazard after the Lions game. He's like, there ain't no way in hell I'm coming back here. It's like if Jordan Love was a dog, Alan Lazard's practically the #1 wide receiver. He's probably going to be getting fed next year, but he knows with Jordan Love, the Detroit Lions running the North,
running the North
with the Vikings,
Clitoris Cousins.
the fucking Bears or the Bears. So
Yeah.
Lions all the way. Jordan Love ain't shit. Christian Watson's good. That's about it.